Well, hey, good morning, folks. Welcome to Worship Wednesday. My name is Eli, and I'm really grateful to be with y'all this morning. For those who usually join me, Ziva's usually sitting right here, but I think she's snoozing back in the bedroom this morning. So who knows? Maybe she'll make an appearance, but she's chilling in a different part of the house today. That's okay. Anyway, yeah. So grateful to be with y'all this morning. And we just finished up a series on tough questions, and this past week was kind of how do we know God's will for our lives, and also dealing with like just tough things that happen. And today is Ash Wednesday, which is part of the liturgical calendar. So all that means is we celebrate things at certain times of year. We remember things at certain times of year, each year. And so it's kind of like common practices that we hold, and we sort of like have a rhythm to our year. And Ash Wednesday is entering into the season of Lent, which is a season of fasting and reflection, of humility and penitence and those kinds of things, as we remember, kind of our mortality, which is not just about, being subject to death at some point. Like, it's not just about life and death, but it's about being human and recognizing that God is God and we're humans. And so kind of like that's a season of reflection and introspection as we head toward Easter. And so anyway, so this is kind of like an interesting day. It's as we enter into this season, this fast season as we head toward Easter. And anyway, so let's just go ahead and we'll jump on into our memory verse for this week, because the memory verse this week is part of today's meditation moment reading as well. It comes from Romans 8, and it's verse 28 that says, "And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purposes for them." And I think, as we often say, this is an interesting verse and kind of a tricky one, honestly, because sometimes it just doesn't feel that way. And I think it's one of those that like it's not about God causing everything, and it's not about everything going well for those of us who seek to follow God, but it's really, it's about God's presence and God's redemptive power and activity. That it's not about God causing everything, but it's about God taking the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between, and being able to create good, being able to craft with whatever there is, to make good from anything and everything. And and that's really hard to see sometimes, but it is a hope that we have. And this morning, I was thinking about songs, and this song has been in my head since we started really reflecting on this. And it's one we've sung before, but it's been a minute. So, but we'll actually sing. We'll reference that memory verse in what we're singing today. So let's get to it. "Sovereign Over Us" is the song, and I'm also reminded that in the Wesleyan tradition, we don't talk about sovereignty of God a whole lot. It's just not a huge emphasis thing, because there are times where it feels like the notion of God's sovereignty is this idea that God is controlling everything, and I don't think that that's really what it means, and I don't think that that's what this song is saying either. That God's power is manifest in his ability to continue to love us no matter what. God's power is manifest in God's goodness. God's power is manifest in God's ability to create good from everything. Not in God's practice of or ability to control everything. Anyway, so let's sing this song. There is strength within the the sorrow. There is beauty in our tears, and you meet us in our mourning with a love that casts out fear. You are working in our waiting. You're sanctifying us when beyond our understanding. You're teaching us to trust. Your plans are still to prosper. You've not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. You are wisdom unimagined. Who could understand your ways? Reigning high above the heavens, reaching down in endless grace. You're the lifter of the lowly, compassionate and kind. You surround and you uphold me, and your promises are my delight. Your plans are still to prosper. You've not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. And even what the enemy means for evil, you turn it for our good. You turn it for our good and for your glory. Even in the valley, you are faithful. You're working for our good. You're working for our good and for your glory. Even what the enemy means for evil, you turn it for our good. You turn it for our good and for your glory. Even in the valley, you are faithful. You're working for our good. Working for our good, for your glory. Your plans are still to prosper. You've not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. Faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. Faithful forever. Perfect in love, you are sovereign over us. Amen. Well, I hope that we get to experience that goodness of God. God's faithfulness will surpass our own every time. God's goodness will surpass our own every time. And I know some really amazingly faithful and amazingly good people, and God is still more. And I'm hoping that we can all really experience God's goodness and presence with us, and observe the way that God can continue to make good of whatever we go through. That's something that we can hold on to, and that can continue to shape the way that we view the world and the way that we relate to one another and all of that stuff. So I hope that as we do experience God's redemptive and restorative love, that would shape us and fill us in a way that sends us to be agents of that love, to participate in God's restorative work in the world today. Wherever we are, it doesn't have to be anything big. It certainly can be. But God is at work in all of us ordinary people in all of our ordinary places. So yeah, I hope we get to experience and embody that today. And yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all soon again. We're having a service this evening at 7 p.m. In the sanctuary for Ash Wednesday, and there's also an opportunity to drive through the side parking lot of the church for imposition of ashes and prayer between noon and 1 today. So if you're in Durango and you'd like to worship, celebrate Ash Wednesday with our community, I'd love to have you be part of that. So yeah, all right. Well, we'll see y'all soon, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.